Hello, Clinton County, Wilmington, Ohio, 45177. Um, Happy Saturday, happy St. Patrick's Day weekend. Of course, this is Arbitration Reading Part 3. I tell you, the more that I've gotten into this, the more that educated people that I've shared this with. We now know what you people are. We now know what you people are doing. So it's the most obvious targeting slash masking slash scam slash let's hurry up and discredit this fucking guy before we have to go to court. This guy's a potential witness, so let's do everything we can to ensure he's not considered a trustworthy person to put on the stand. Let's do what we can to remove his ability to testify. Well, I guess I got a news flash for you, dumbasses. I don't think that's going to work. I really don't. Just from the knowledge that I have, I'm absolutely positively sure of what our county has now. I'm sure of it. I mean, if they try and say, like in the previous reading, is it possible that they just jumped to this conclusion without? Yeah, you know what? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. They know the phases. The mayor's a former sheriff. He knows how this goes, and the chief. They all know how this goes. They know the process. They were in a huge hurry to make this guy to put a shadow on this guy of any way, shape, or form. So I hope, and oddly enough, if you notice, look who got added to depose late in the game, Brian Scheidecker. Oh boy, whatever could he testify to? I wonder. Well, I think after people see this, buddy, you're going to be more of a Brady officer than Officer Coates, because you are a gigantic turd. That's what you are. You are a gigantic turd. I don't care. But then you know what? I look at this. I look deeper, and then I find out this prosecutor's dad was the same person that was up here, one of the head mucky mucks at Wilmington Savings Bank, when it got shut down by the OCC for some shady shit. So it seems the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? So, hey, what I can't wait. I really can't, because I can tell you the eyes that are on this now. Yeah, I mean, there's not a snowball's chance in hell somebody's not going down for this. It's just not happening. Somebody, if not a lot of people, are going to get screwed, and I can't wait, because it's just so these people. You know what? I'm not gonna get into that piece. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read. So I'm on now page 18. I might read about 5 pages because it's getting dark in here. My eyes are kind of bothering me anyway. Payroll records submission. A primary component of the city's justification for discharge is the allegation that Officer Coates improperly submitted a payroll request for overtime related to the June 10th, 2024 live fire training event at the OTOA TOPS conference. The city contends that that Officer Coates was not entitled to the overtime he claimed because he was attending a vendor demonstration rather than a structured training session. However, the evidence does not support the city's assertion. Imagine that the submission was improper or fraudulent. Imagine that, the city of Wilmington. You fucking joke, man. I'm sorry. You people suck. You people are the epitome of dumbassery. You really are. You truly are. And I'm going to take pride. I really am. In creating so many more people like myself, like I already have, and the level of accountability that is coming your people's way. You're going to hate yourself. You're going to hate your job, because you people, a lot of you, don't know how to act. Within the realms and the rule of the law and within the policy. I don't think you do. I think you're that damn reckless. It's my opinion. First, the city had a long-standing practice. Of approving overtime for attendance at the Ottawa live fire events in prior years, 2022 and in 2023. Officer Coates submitted overtime requests nearly identical to the ones submitted in 2024 for exactly the same live fire event at exactly the same OTOA TOPS conference. In 2022-2023, the city approved his submissions without questioning them. At no point before June 2024 did the city or Wilmington PD issue any directive that participation in the live fire event would no longer qualify for overtime. Sounds like a leadership fuck up to me, Chief Wilson. Where you at, buddy? This is your subordinate. This is your troop. You're not keeping your people aware, man? What the hell, man? Roger that. Damn, dude. Participation in a live fire event would no longer qualify for overtime compensation, or that submission for overtime must be more detailed than they had been in the past. The city's sudden change in approach was neither communicated to officers nor documented in any policy before Officer Coates submitted his overtime request for the 2024 conference. Chief Wilson, upon becoming interim chief, was entitled to change the policies, absolutely, and practices of his predecessors. Yes, he is, such as these. But it was incumbent on him to communicate. Well, no shit. I mean, just because you make a policy doesn't mean everybody knows it. You have to pass it out. Sometimes you even have to train on it. Communicate. You know what? It could be just a huge clusterfuck and being new at the position. It could be, but in that scenario, that should be the chief's ass on fire, not this officer. Come on, man. Come on. Take a hit for your team, brother. What the fuck's with me? Really? Communicate such change to Wilmington PD officers before disciplining them for violations. Most of the time when a new policy comes out, it's put in the book, it's put in a handbook. But then you go around and you have everybody sign off on it, saying you now have a full understanding of this new policy, and therefore you have no excuse if you break it. It's called documentation. It's called accountability. It wasn't incumbent on him to continue to charge Wilmington PD officers before disciplining them for violations of new policies and practices of which they had no notice or knowledge. Imagine that. It is fundamentally unfair to discipline someone for violating a rule the person has no way of knowing about. I concur. Wouldn't you concur, Brian Scheidecker? You're just dead set on making this guy untrustworthy, aren't you? Yeah, because this guy knows what's on the camera, doesn't he? I bet he does. What if a few of them got together and downloaded and duplicated everything that was on that camera? Gee. Oh, shit. This was hearing Officer Prickett's rationale for finding that Officer Coates had not. Well, no shit. Officer Prickett knows what the fuck he's doing. I mean, in that area. The Officer Coates had not improperly attempted to claim. I will give some. I'm going to give Prickett something that from a admin side of the house. The guys, he's locked on. I'll give him that. Prickett's rationale for finding that Officer Coates had not improperly attempted to claim overtime for the live fire event and adopted the rationale and finding in this award as well. Second, the city's reliance on an email exchange between Chief Wilson and an Ottawa administrator to discredit the overtime claim is misplaced. Misplaced. Really? How does an email get misplaced? Everything on the city is supposed to maintain, what's the word I'm looking for? It's supposed to stay on the record. Gee. Administrator discredit the overtime claim was misplaced. The city's argument hinges on the fact that the OTOA's published agenda lists formal training as ending at 4 p.m. and that the live fire event was not listed as an official course. However, the city's approval of overtime for this event in 2022-23 confirms that participants in the live fire exercises was also considered a training opportunity by the department of the city and in previous years. The city after the fact characterization of the event as a non-compensable is inconsistent with its own past practices and creates a fundamental fairness issue. It is also probably wrong as a matter of wage/hour law, though such a finding is not necessary here. Number two, alleged untruthfulness. Um, the city's second primary justification for discharge is its claim that Officer Coates was untruthful in responding to Chief Wilson's inquiries regarding the overtime submission. The city argues that when questioned about the overtime request, Officer Coates knowingly provided false, misleading information. However, the evidence presented at the arbitration hearing does not support a finding of intentional deception. Imagine that. Imagine that. The record shows that when Chief Wilson, emailed Officer Coates on June 18th, 2024, seeking clarification about the overtime request, Officer Coates responded promptly, providing a written explanation and supporting documents, including GPS records and screenshots showing his drive time. His response was consistent with his past practices in submitting payroll and included information about his participation in the live fire event. Sounds like this officer's more locked on than the fucking chief and half the administration. Detective Jeweler found that Officer Coates was untruthful, quote unquote, in the sense of inaccurate, rather than in the sense of deliberately lying. You're not untruthful if it's not intentional or if it's an accident. You fucking moron. That's called an accident. You don't. It's damn, dude. This distinction is critical. No shit. The Internal Affairs report does not characterize Officer Coates' statements as intentional falsehoods meant to mislead his superiors for personal gain. Rather, it suggests that his responses were imprecise, inconsistent, and incomplete due to a lack of clear guidance on how to document overtime. There's a significant difference between an officer who fabricates information. You guys should be the fucking kings and queens of fabrication. I mean, you really should. I mean, look at this train wreck, and look how you look now. You look like exactly what you are. You weaponize the law and the rules, and you create shit to damn people that know the truth. But it's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the dominoes? It's coming out. The city, however, treated these two scenarios as indistinguishable, failing to acknowledge the context and nature of the alleged misstatements. Hearing Officer Prickett likewise found a technical violation of policy 1058.1.1, truthfulness. However, hearing Officer Prickett's specific findings indicate that the violation was de minimis rather than substantial. His use of words inaccurate and incorrect as synonyms for untruthful, as well as his conclusion that the policies were violated in some manner, all suggest that the issue at hand was one of imprecision rather than deliberate misrepresentations. Nothing in hearing Officer Prickett's report supports the conclusion that Officer Coates acted with malice or deceit. Imagine that. But I bet you can't say the same for your prosecutor and your city safety director and a few other choice pieces of shit, can you? They're not acting in malice, are they? The city's decision to disregard these nuances and impose the most severe possible penalty demonstrates a failure to apply the proportional response to the allegation infraction. Moreover, the city's own decision maker, Public Safety Director Evelyn, distinguished deliberate dishonesty from imprecision or honest mistakes. Director Evelyn's notice of removal asserted that Officer Coates had failed to provide truthful statements in his email exchange with the Chief Wilson. However, Director Evelyn's testimony in arbitration failed to engage with hearing Officer Prickett's findings, particularly that determination that any inaccuracy in Officer Coates' responses was unintentional and or motivated by personal gain. Imagine that. Just sit quietly. We'll get him. Don't worry. If Director Evelyn had carefully considered hearing Officer Prickett's conclusion, he might have reached a different disciplinary decision. Instead, the record suggests that he operated under the mistaken belief of Officer Coates and engaged in a deliberate deception, when in fact, hearing Officer Prickett's report found no such thing. The city's decision to characterize minor inaccuracies and fraudulent, misleading statements is not only consistent with the evidence, but also grossly disproportionate in its consequences. A police officer's credibility is unquestionably important, but so my eyes. I'm sorry, but so too is the fairness of disciplinary procedures. And if the city truly believed that any misstatement by an officer, no matter how slight or unintended, merit discharge, it would need to apply that standard uniformly across all employees, including the many high-ranking officials who have misstated facts in documents or proceedings related to this grievance. No shit. Yet the record contains no evidence that other officials who have made such misstatements were subjected to the same scrutiny or punishment. Hey, assholes. Hey, Nick Eveland. Hey, Scheidecker. You dumbasses going through any scrutiny over this? Are you guys going to get in trouble for how fucking how deliberate you look here? That you're trying to headhunt someone, because everybody's seeing this now. Everywhere you go, people are going to look at you, and then they're going to look at this hardworking cop and look at your sniveling asses and think, what garbage, what fucking garbage. This man works. These people work their asses off. They're not your fucking pawns to ensure they don't testify or to ensure they don't come forth with truth that's going to fucking degrade you and ruin your sorry asses. You suck. You suck, sir. Gentlemen. No wonder. Hey, you know what? No wonder. No, never mind. In summary, the evidence does not support the conclusion that Officer Coates engaged in deliberate dishonesty. At most, his statements reflected minor imprecision and a lack of clarity in his documentation. If you guys, any of you guys, have ever been in any type of leadership and you've had to deal with several different people giving you forms of communication in writing or text or emails, every single one of those people have different styles of communicating, and a lot of times you can't read chicken scratch, you can't read their dog paws and shit like that. You just can't. But that's when it comes down to, hey, you having a face to face. Okay, man, what the hell does this say? Because I can't read your shit. You're a third grader, man. What the hell's going on here? That's when you have the face to face. Discipline rather than discharge. The city's failure to distinguish between deliberate deceit and unintentional inaccuracy resulted in a disciplinary decision that was disproportionate. No shit. Procedurally deficient and inconsistent with the fundamental principles of just cause. You people are going to go under the limelight like it's cool, and then the truth's going to come out. We're going to find out. You know what? I bet you there's somebody behind this. A little bitty person behind this. I just bet you. And I bet you these other little fucking pawns are the ones doing the favors. That's what I just bet it. I just bet. You people risked your ass and your careers and your image and your reputations. And guess what? They're going to suffer. I would care. I would, to walk around this small community of people knowing that you targeted and tried to fuck over a good officer and his family, working to provide for I give you this. I give you that. I give you that. You have no respect for me. Zero. And I hope they come and shackle your ass and take you off and hold your ass in a federal prison until you awaiting court days. I hope you lose your positions. I hope you're forced the fuck out. That's what I hope. B, the city's arguments. The city's post-hearing brief raises 5 core arguments in support of the decision to discharge Officer Coates. Each will be addressed in turn. Number 1, Officer Coates admitted to being deliberately untruthful in his emails to Chief Wilson. The city asserts that Officer Coates effectively admitted to dishonesty when association attorney Steve Lazarus stated that Officer Coates' emails were not accurate. However, an acknowledgement of inaccuracy is not equivalent to an admission of dishonesty. No shit. There is a meaningful. These people are trying to switch, or they flip the fucking words around. And they try to tongue twist you, and now your dumbasses are fucking caught by much more smart, much more talented people, much more smarter lawyers, much more men than you will ever fucking be. Epic fucking failures. There's a meaningful distinction between deliberate misrepresentation and an inadvertent or careless error. The evidence presented at arbitration included the findings of hearing officer Prickett. Does not support the conclusion that Officer Coates' statement were knowingly false or intentionally misleading. Rather, they were imprecise, inconsistent, or poorly articulated, but never rose to the level of deliberate deception. If every statement containing minor inaccuracies were treated as dishonesty, warranting termination, the city would be compelled to apply that standard universally, which has not been done, and you would lose half. The city would probably consist of five people. I bet you. We would have to hold all new elections. I just what I believe. Additionally, the characterization of Officer Coates' emails as not accurate fails to account for the context in which they were written. Officer Coates responded under that he perceived correctly or not as time pressure without access to his full records, and in an environment where Chief Wilson's inquiries appeared to Officer Coates, again, correctly or not, to be adversarial rather than aimed to genuine clarification. A fair evaluation of the responses must consider the circumstances in which they were provided. By the way, folks, there's a shit ton more information that's going to be let out. So as I've stated on many occasions, some of you people who know about some of these things and you think you're going to be able to turn a blind eye to it, I think it's too late. Knowing is enabling. Enabling is participating. You're grown-ass adults. Some of you have a lot of responsibility, and you damn well know better, and you're not going to be able to say, "Oh, I didn't know." You're not going to be able to pull that shit. I mean, you might. It's just going to get you in trouble. I'm telling you, if it were me and I were an employee of that city, I would be running. I would be making whistleblower statement like it was cool. I would be running, and I damn sure wouldn't turn it in to this county or this city. Oh no. I would be calling someone outside this state. I just would. I really would. Number 2, Officer Coates was more interested in getting in the last word than in accurately explaining his overtime submission. You know what? The city contends that Officer Coates' email exchange with Chief Wilson's were argumentative. You can tell the tone of somebody through an email, huh? You fucking ball of fire. Oh, shit. Oh, man. I bet you was there a lot of emojis applied. Oh, shit. We're argumentative. By the way, I'm just going to tell you something. One of these guys in one of their write-ups when I was falsely arrested said I clapped too loud. That was my disruption. After someone spoke, I clapped too loud. He was excessively clapping. What the fuck? Anyway, with Officer Coates focusing more on challenging Chief Wilson's motives, then I would challenge you too. Damn right I would. Motives, then on explaining his overtime claims. This argument ignores the fact that Officer Coates did, in fact, provide the requested breakdown of his overtime, and that the frustration evident in his emails was a direct response to what he perceived as unfair scrutiny. Well, no shit. I'm going to take that just standing up with big smiles on my face and butterflies and shit. A perception that was reasonably in the context of the city's prior approval of this overtime under identical circumstances and in the email exchange. Chief Wilson dished out as much as he received. Aww. Had Officer Coates refused to answer Chief Wilson's questions or attempt to deflect without providing relevant information, the city's argument would have more weight. But the record shows that he did respond and with the details requested. That the fact that he also expressed frustration with that he perceived as targeted treatment does not negate the substance of his response, given that the city has not provided evidence that it scrutinized other officers' overtime submissions in similar manner. Officer Coates' suspicion that he was being singled out is not without foundation. You think? You think? Let's see. There was a cop who got out of his car, left it running, went back inside the building on the clock, let it roll across the damn parking lot. Could have hit and killed someone. Ran into a couple more cars. Did thousands of dollars of damage. Guy wasn't. He wasn't. No drug test for him. No PP test for him. No alcohol test for him. No, I don't think there was a ticket. No third party investigation. None of the above. Now you know what? Hey, it's because it was on private property. Hey, these people said that the city building is private property. I want to know the owner. Please point me to the owner. Oh, wait, there he is. That's you and me. It's public. That without foundation. Okay. Police officers are held to a higher standard of truthfulness and minor misstatements and the city argues that police officers must be held to the highest standard of truthfulness. I'm going to take a moment of silence for this one. Lord Jesus, help these people. Help the hypocrisy that bleeds and oozes from their bodies. Because their credibility is essential to public trust and court proceedings. This general principle is valid. Officers must maintain integrity to perform their duties effectively, testify in court, and ensure the legitimacy of law enforcement actions. Even minor credibility issues can be used to challenge an officer's testimony in legal proceedings. However, the requirement of just cause demands a measured approach that distinguishes between intentional falsehoods and minor inaccuracies or imprecise statements made in good faith. Stand by. The city relies on Clark County Sheriff's Office versus Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Lab Council, Inc., FMFC case number, blah, 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 to support its position. In Clark County, the grievant was found to have deliberately made a false statement during an internal. You know what bothers me about this is this guy's been on this force for how long now, and they can't tell his demeanors. They must not know. You can't know your troops, man. That makes you a fucking failure. That means you suck. You've been around these people for that many years, and you don't know, and you can't tell their demeanors and their speeches and whether or not they're being sarcastic or what have you, and you don't know this by now. You know what? I knew what size fucking shoes my Marines wore. I knew when their mother's birthdays were. I knew everything about my Marines. You are sad. There's leaders and then there's not. The officer's dishonesty was not an incidental misstatement, but rather a deliberate effort to mislead investigators regarding material facts. Arbitrator Boyd determined that his intentional deception compromised the integrity of the department, making continued unemployment untenable. I'm sorry, guys. By contrast, Officer Coates' alleged untruthfulness arose in the context of an email exchange about overtime documentation, not an internal investigation into misconduct. The inaccuracies in Officer Coates' statements were, at worst, imprecise or mistaken, rather than deliberately deceptive. More importantly, hearing Officer Prickett, who had the opportunity to evaluate the evidence firsthand, found that Officer Coates' statement did not reflect an intent to deceive, and appeared to conclude any misstatements were de minimis. Similarly, Detective Julerat, the city's own investigator, did not characterize Coates' explanations as fraudulent or intentionally misleading. So it's kind of narrowed down to the city safety director and the prosecutor. Boy, got it in for this cop, don't you? Don't you? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. How dare you, man? talk shit about supporting your cops. Talk shit about what caring for them. You are a fuck. You are a. Additionally, unlike in Clark County, where the officer's dishonesty directly impacted an investigation into serious misconduct, the inaccuracy in an officer Coates' response had no material impact on an ongoing case, an investigation, or the department's ability to function. There is no evidence that Officer Coates' statements were intended to cover up wrongdoing. Oh boy, you people know about cover-ups and wrongdoings, don't you? You know about tampering with evidence too, don't you? How the fuck do you let evidence just walk up out of your evidence room that had potential child porn on it? Imagine that. It just gets up and it's just misplaced. It's just misplaced. But what was that the former chief said? Oh no, nothing about the law directors to go on the city's record. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of shit going on the record here soon, my friends. Oh shit! Cover up wrongdoing, confer an improper benefit upon himself, or mislead superiors for personal gain. Even if one assumes that Officer Coates' statements were inaccurate, the punishment must be proportional to the nature of the alleged untruthfulness. In Clark County, the officer's dishonesty was central to obstructing an official investigation and warranted discharge. Here, the city seeks to apply the same penalty to an officer whose only alleged offense was an imprecise response to an email exchange about a few hours of overtime. The context are not proportional. You people look you look horrible. You look horrible. Honest to God, and I'm not shitting you. If I had any part of, if I was in on any of this, I would fucking resign. I would. That when the second this thing hit the fucking printer, I would have resigned. I would have. But a lot of you people never thought that this was going to make it to the public. Well, let me assure you, it has. I promise you, it has. I know I've sent it to tons of fucking people. The media as well. The city's reliance on Clark, some of the media that's been here and kind of questioned me and Daryl previously, but now kind of don't, and they haven't for the past year because of some of the shit that we provided them. Is like, holy shit, you guys aren't wrong, are you? Just like Matt Miller Novak once said to a news reporter. I've looked at a lot of their stuff, and they're not wrong. Deliberate source in the case. Officer Coates' inaccuracy is a minor, unintentional, and no demonstrable negative impact on the department. While the principle that police officers must uphold the highest standard and credibility is valid, the city's attempt to apply Clark County to this case is misguided. That case involved deliberate dishonesty in the context of an internal investigation, whereas Coates' alleged untruthfulness requires a reasonable approach that considers intent. Proportionality in context. The evidence in this case does not support termination, and Clark County does not provide a reasonable basis for the city's decision to discharge Coates. They know why they did that. They want to make him look as bad as possible. But then when you compare and contrast this officer to some of the shitbags you've actually promoted and moved around in other trusted positions after committing federal fucking crimes, it makes it very evident what you want yourself surrounded by. Finally, if one accepts the premise that police officers should be held to a higher standard, as they should, standard of choices than most other citizens or public servants, and I do, that same principle would demand that high level city and county officials do the same. No shit, such as police chiefs and city directors. He said it, and county prosecutors. He's busting your ass. He's busting your balls professionally. You fucking morons. Oh, but I'm not being so professional. Why? Because I don't have to be. This guy's eloquent. This person, I love this guy. I fucking love him. Such as police chiefs and city safety directors and county prosecutors should be held to even higher standard. The inaccurate statements for which the city fired Officer Coates pale in comparison to the misrepresentation in this record by other city and county officials to whom far more has been entrusted. Boy. Good God almighty. Good Lordy. Boy, look at the truth. Look at the truth about to bleed out. Look at the seams about to bust. Look at the seams about to bust. Woo! We're about to see firsthand what these people have been, what they are, and what they have been for a long time, and probably why, over the past 40 years, we've declined, because people like this, they surround themselves with like people. That's what they do. I'm cool. I did this for you. You do this for me. You better do this for me, or I did that for you. That's the kind of shit they dwell in. That is the kind of garbage that these people thrive in. That's the only way they can succeed, because they don't have a professional fucking bone in their body. They cannot live to this standard that is being described here, that's being defined here so eloquently. They can't. They can't. I remember the young law director calling, and this I was just absolutely shocked when Mr. Ruddock was the law director. He referred to a former judge at McCracken. He goes, "I'll be damned if I listen to what some old closet pedophile is." Oh yeah, yeah. Live by the rules of some old closet pedophile. Because you know what he said? The rules he had. I don't know Judge McCracken. I don't know much about him, but I would be willing to bet he's probably not what is being defined by this motherfucker who has been implicated in the very shit that he's calling this judge at one point in time in his life. Deflect much. So the piece that bothers me is that he would so easily flap off at the mouth that if this guy's respected, this judge, which I don't know if he is or not. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. So anyway, Officer Coates' Brady designation makes him ineffective as a police officer. Number 4. The city argues that because County Prosecutor Scheidecker designated Officer Coates as a shady Scheidecker. Yeah, there you go, buddy. Yeah, there you go, Pop-Tart. Oh, shit. Get mad and retaliate, you motherfucker. Please do. The city argues that because County Prosecutor Shady Scheidecker designated Officer Coates as a Brady officer, reinstating him would be pointless, as he would be unable to testify in court. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, my God. Boy, that was the intentions, wasn't it, Shady Scheidecker and baby boy Brady Boy Ruddock, wasn't it? Your master plan's getting foiled by the fucking second, you pieces of shit. Ooh. As he would be unable to testify in court. I bet he does anyway. I bet he gets added to somebody's witness list if he hasn't already been. This argument is flawed for 4 reasons. Here comes the 4 reasons. Number 1, the designation itself was based on, excuse me, a little parts. Pardon me for one moment, please. One moment. Need a little H2O. Much better, much better. As I was. First, the designation itself was based on a mischaracterization of the evidence. As discussed earlier in this award, the prosecutor's analysis relied exclusively on the internal affairs report and deliberately ignoring hearing officer Prickett's findings of no deliberate dishonesty. The designation was made while Officer Coates' grievance was pending. This guy wasn't even through his fucking grievance, and they have already got his ass out the fucking door and labeled Jack. Oh, yes, they do, because some depositions are coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Some settlements are coming up, ladies. I bet you guys this fucking lawsuit is investigated like it's cool. I bet you money it is. I bet you there's some high rollers about to get fucking ousted on this shit. Oh yeah. Yeah. You know what? Again, money. Money says everybody but the city gets dropped. And I bet you at some point, I would imagine when the city's insurance company gets ass deep in this and sees some of the shit that's going on, I would imagine they probably say, "Fuck you." I would. I know I would, especially when some of you folks are ordered to do something by them and you don't do it. Interesting shit. Oh boy. Where was I? The designation was made while officers go through a fact that raises concern about whether it was motivated by genuine legal necessity or by external pressures. Ooh, the Ruddick family. Dun-dun-dun-dun. 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 This is fucking killing me. Second, moving right along. Brady designations are not necessarily permanent. The same county prosecutor who issued this designation has the ability to reconsider and withdraw it with new information warrants doing so. Prosecutor Scheidecker should do so here. Well, let's see if he does it. I can't wait. But it almost worked. Let's see if he does it before the court hearing or before people are deposed. That's something he could do tomorrow morning. He could do it right now from his house. He conducts business from his house. I mean, the motherfucker threatened me with a lawsuit when I mentioned his public official wife and her position at what do you call it, the damn CPS, and my theory of like, hey, I wonder, my opinion, I wonder if this is why some of these people aren't getting these officials, such as the hammer chucker. Where'd it go? I don't have my hammer. Shit. Why he wasn't even investigated? Why Judge Ruddick went to CPS didn't investigate? Well, no shit. Your buddy's wife's the fucking gatekeeper. My theory, my opinion. Sue me. Send me another email with your government. Do it. Oh boy. Third, the city's position assumes that a Brady designation automatically disqualifies an officer from all the law enforcement duties. That is not the case. Many officers with Brady designations continue to work in non-testimonial roles, and agencies have discretion in how they assign such officers. Fourth, even assuming the city has no available work for a Brady designated police officer, well, they did. I mean, I wonder if that's one of the reasons that Baker got that designated. Maybe he came up with some truth. As a matter of fact, I think he did request an internal investigation in the city of Wilmington. All of a sudden, poof. That is a problem of its own making. Officer Coates' career should not suffer because city and police officials brought unsubstantiated charges against him, ignored contrary and mitigating evidence, and then disregarded the findings of a neutral hearing officer who exposed their poor decisions. Colonel Prickett exposed these dipshits. The past approval officer Coates' overtime does not matter because past practices are unenforceable under the CBA. Number 5. The city argues that Article 38.1 of the CBA renders past practices unenforceable, and thus the approval officer Coates' overtime in previous years is irrelevant. What is relevant, however, sir, is you didn't communicate your new policies to this officer and you just let him fly out in the wind. Therefore, he had no guidance to go by, you stupid fuck. And therefore, he went what was applied and historically, and that was paid and worked. You see how that works? You know, he acted on his own. You know, he improvised, he adapted, you know, the good shit that a good resourceful person does, you know, that don't have to suck on a fucking titty. I don't need daddy every daddy help me please, daddy help me please. The argument mischaracterizes the way the past practice is being used in this grievance. Past practice, quote unquote, might have been using this grievance as a contract and what the hell? Interpretation tool to argue. My eyes are going bad. I'm sorry, guys. I need a light over here. To argue that the city's past approval of overtime for live fires events creates an unwritten but nonetheless enforceable contract term that permanently entitles Wilmington Police Department officers to claim overtime for such events. See Richard Mittendale, blah, blah, blah. But this is not the argument the association makes in this grievance. Instead, the association is using past practice as a notice argument. The association argues that past approvals combined with the lack of an announcement of directive from the Chief Wilson, that's fucked up, man. That is fucked up. Throwing one of your people under the bus because that's fucked up. That's wow. I wouldn't want to work for this guy. No fucking way. No way. About a policy change, made it disproportionate to discipline Officer Coates for what he reasonably believed to be an approved practice. This is precisely the reasoning hearing Officer Prickett applied in his pre-disciplinary report, and the city has not provided a convincing rationale for discrediting it. Well, no shit. The just cause principle requires that employees be given clear notice of what was expected of them before they can be disciplined for failing to meet that expectation. Yeah, you know what? Like when you pass out a new policy, you have them sign it, you have them read it. That way, you sign it. Hey, you've acknowledged this. You are now being held to this standard. That's how that works. Most people with any leadership knows this. I had 19-year-old Marines that knew this. I had teenage supervisors that knew this. Oh my God. Chief Wilson's failure to communicate a change of policy meant that Officer Coates had no reason to believe that his overtime submission, which had been approved in previous years, was now improper. He also had every reason to be confused and frustrated when his overtime submission, identical to the submissions in previous years, were scrutinized and questioned without explanation. If Chief Wilson, you know what I think? I think there was some little piece of shit sitting on a couch, unemployed now, eating cereal, probably fucking fucked up on whatever. Oh my God, we got to get rid of this guy. He's potential. He can fuck up my lawsuit. We got to get rid of him. That's right. I believe this whole thing probably spawned from something like that. The appropriate response would have been to issue clear prior guidance. No shit. Not not to retroactively punish an officer who had no reason to suspect that prior approvals would no longer apply. Summary: each of the city's arguments, when examined in the context of the full record, fails to support discharge. The city has mischaracterized key evidence, ignored the findings of its own hearing officer, applied discipline inconsistently, and failed to provide adequate notice of policy changes. While the city may have had legitimate concerns about how overtime was documented and submitted, inappropriate responses would have been clarification and perhaps progressive discipline, not discharge based on a fundamental flawed premise. Conclusion: the city has failed. Imagine that. The city has failed to establish just cause for discharge of Officer Coates. For discharging Officer Coates, the decision to discharge him was based on a flawed evaluation of the evidence, a disregard for critical neutral findings, and proportionate penalty relative to the alleged misconduct. The city's investigation ignored key facts that undermined its case, including the past approval of identical overtime submissions, the lack of clear notice regarding the policy change, the hearing officer Prickett's determination, and that this is a whole leadership clusterfuck. That's all this is, and they're blaming the officer. Wow, man. No, it's, you know what? I think? I think this. I don't think it was a clusterfuck. I think it was intentional. That's what I think. And now the dumbassery is being picked apart, and they're being made to look stupid, because that's what you all now look. You look stupid. You look stupid because of this. If somebody, in theory, if somebody put you up to this, you are a fucking fool. You look dumb as shit now. And the people of this community are going to look at you and disgrace, my opinion. And you deserve it. You deserve it. Moreover, the city's approach to this case was neither consistent nor fair. It treated minor record-keeping issues as serious acts of deception Oh, deception. The city's going to talk about deception. Oh, shit. Oh, really? I bet if Daryl here, he would laugh. I bet if Spencer was here, he'd laugh. I bet, yeah, there'd be a bunch of people just laughing at this. Deception, the city? I think it needs a flush. Go down to the sewage water running into our drinking water at Caesars Creek. Lytle Creek, I hear there's a bunch of it. Moreover, the city's approach to this case was neither consistent nor fair. It treated minor record-keeping issues as a serious act of deception while failing to acknowledge its own failure to set clear expectations and apply discipline uniformly. The city's reliance on an absolute view of the police credibility ignored the nuanced reality that not every inaccuracy is an act of dishonesty. Just cause requires a proportionate response, and here discharge was not proportionate. Award. The grievance is sustained. This city is directed to immediately reinstate Officer Coates to his prior position. Hoorah! With full back pay, seniority, and benefits. To ensure that Officer Coates is truly made whole, the city must also award him any promotions he otherwise would have obtained and compensate him for any back pay or benefits he would have received from such promotions. And if the parties are unable to agree on the appropriate compensation, the arbiter retains jurisdiction to resolve any disputes. Reinstatement alone does not fully remedy the harm done. No shit. The Brady designation imposed by the county prosecutor. This gives me chills, you wormy motherfucker. You make me sick. Good people, good, honest people in this community have been fucked by wormy little cocksuckers like this. This wormy little fuck. I'm popping your head. Psh, 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 psh. Oh my God. Oh Lord. That comes off Kids in the Hall, if you guys remember. It's old 80s sitcom. It's no threat popping someone's head if you hold it back like here. You know, I'm popping your head. No, wait. I'm not going to do it. Anyway. Based on findings, this mischaracterization of the investigative record and ignored exculpatory evidence now serves as a barrier to Officer Coates' ability to perform his duties as a law enforcement officer. I have feelings going. I have feelings going to get to testify anyway, especially after they see this. The city is therefore directed to provide a copy of this award to the Clinton County prosecutors and the Clinton County commissioners who oversee the prosecutor's office for appropriate reconsideration of that designation. What bothers me is this. I know this was purposely done. There's no way. There's no way. You're not going to tell me otherwise. I won't believe it. You might try to play that stupid ass role. Oh, I didn't know. So you didn't know you didn't know one of your own was actively in hearings? That just goes to show that you suck as a leader anyway. One of your own is undergoing proceedings that could save his ass, and you don't give a shit. You just want to cut his throat. You shitbags. You suck as leaders. Fucking quit. Resign. Go away. Go away. Oh my God. The city is further directed to expunge any references to Officer Coates' discharge and the Brady designation from his personal file, ensuring that these events do not create future barriers to his professional advancement with Wilmington PD or elsewhere. Any external inquiries regarding his employment status must reflect that he was reinstated with full back pay following a determination that his discharge was without cause. This case represents an astonishing misallocation of public resources. Get the fuck. Let me throw something by you guys. These dipshits put hours and hours and hours into a single hour of overtime investigations. Let that sink in. And think about the shit that they won't even touch. Are they just fucking lazy? I mean, the mayor did tell me back in the day, I mean, if they came up on a body that looked murdered, they would just call it a suicide to keep from working it. Wow, man. We deserve better. We deserve better. This case represents an astonishing misallocation of public resources, a minor payroll discrepancy. These are other people talking about you guys, man. I mean, if this doesn't put you in the nuts, a 1-hour overtime became the subject of an extensive internal affairs investigation. A pre-disciplinary hearing with an outside hearing officer and lawyers on both sides, a full day hearing before the arbitrator, again with lawyers on both sides all day, and a deeply flawed Brady designation issued by the county prosecutor. That's probably why you were sitting second chair in that last murder, right? Because you're a fucking dumbass. That would be my. Does Google AI? Would it be too embarrassing for you to pop up Google AI to start looking for shit to say? Deeply flawed Brady designation issued by the county prosecutor. City officials, police leadership, and legal counsel have devoted an extraordinary amount of time and taxpayer funds to this matter. Despite the complete absence of any evidence that Officer Coates acted with fraudulent intent or sought personal gain, the steer. Come here, Nadia. Come here, honey. The sheer disproportionality between the alleged infraction and the institutional response raises fundamental concerns about the priorities of those involved. Boy, we locally know the priorities. Somebody's being protected. You know what? I bet you that lawsuit just gets fucking kicked. I bet it does. Don't worry, Brady boy. Don't worry, Brady. We'll take care of you. See how that works out. The irony of this case cannot be ignored. High-ranking police officials and prosecutors who wield significant authority and discretion spent vast amounts of public time and money aggressively pursuing unfounded allegations of fraud, only to have their claims collapse under scrutiny. That such an effort was directed at a decorated officer with an unblemished record is troubling. No shit, you fucking morons. You're a disgrace. You're a fucking disgrace. That's what you are. That's what you are. And the people of this community and this state are going to fucking see it. They're going to see what you do to good people, to honest fucking people who do nothing but do their jobs and mind their own fucking business. Oh, I don't know. You foreclose on 60 properties illegal, maybe, or foreclose on a disabled veteran fucking illegally and destroy his family by fucking criminal acts. Oh, by the way, dipshit, I got my Marcy law rights. So fuck you. Troubling if there are lessons to be learned from this case that should include a renewed commitment to fairness, proportionality, and responsible stewardship of public office. An arbitrator retains jurisdiction. Yeah. I have a feeling, Mr. Scheider, that the Ohio Crimes Justice Center is probably going to be contacting your dumbass because they take high interest in this county's overlooking what I should have gotten the very day that I presented it to you, and the very day you heard that judge's voice say, "I agree, Mr. Thomas. You and your family were victims of crimes committed by First National Bank of Lebanon, Ohio." He agreed with me wholeheartedly and that recommended I go to see your dumbass. But then what'd you try to do? You try to punt it down the street because you don't want to go after your friends. But don't worry, motherfucker. The light's coming. The light is coming. Superfly, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. When Jesus was.